Well, actually, tell us a little bit about your teaching situation. Would that be okay?
Are you referring to this workshop in particular or just generally speaking?
Just generally speaking, kind
Okay.
of
All
where you're
right.
at right now, where you want to
Yeah,
go, and then
sure.
we'll talk about this workshop opportunity.
For sure. Okay.
Okay.
So right now, with teaching classes, two different locations, I guess is the best word to use. Locations. One is more very student population based. It's at a college. So they're
Cool.
very young people. So that's one group of people. And then the second
What
group
can
of
you
people,
tell us a little bit about that group?
sure. Okay. Um, so with that group, just been calling it a gentle yoga.
Hmm.
And that really seems to attract them because I do know the instructor that was teaching this time slot before was a little bit more intense. Not to say that that was a bad thing or anything. It's just who has been attracted to this class description. And I actually kind of used some of the verbiage that you had laid out for us way back when with organization and activation. So that I feel like I have permission at any time to kind of use those words
Oh,
and
that's
really,
what I want you to do, Sue. That's what I want you
yeah.
to do.
Yes, and so this was back in, I guess, last September that this class, not 2023, but 2022. So that was really an opportunity for me to kind of just, let's just play with it with people.
Yeah.
So that was my first introduction to that. I quickly realized that I think I came to a coaching call and said that it's really difficult to continue have them learning and building on skills because they're not the same people all the time. And I
Mhm.
really realized my eyes got opened into workshops really would work well and that kind of thing. So I haven't approached the manager to do that yet. But
So
again,
is this it's on a college campus?
yes, it is in
Yeah.
their
Oh,
gym.
that's
Yeah.
such a great
So
opportunity.
oh, it is. Oh, it is.
It
So for
is.
sure. For sure. So I call them my play people, and I don't know
Mhm.
whether that's a good thing to say it like such, because they're they're open, yes, but they're also not that receptive and giving me feedback. It's like
Mm.
pulling teeth trying to get them to talk about, what do you think of that? Right? That kind of thing.
Well,
But
tell
anyway,
them to record themselves on their phone giving you feedback.
okay.
Their younger people are so comfortable talking to their phone,
Right. Okay. I
probably
like
more than
that.
talking to people. So maybe like say, hey, I'd love to hear some of your feedback, just send me a video recording or something.
Yeah. I like that. Awesome. Thank you.
Mm.
So yeah, that group is ongoing. Like it's just once a week, I should say. Add on to that for the hour. Well, actually, not even an hour. It's 50 minutes. But yes, so that's one group. And then the second group is at a fuller fledged yoga studio. It has the atmosphere of a yoga studio, heated floors and all the kind of things. And this group tends to be, I would say, mid-20s to 60s and beyond. So I got a really mixed group of ladies that attend the classes. Again, it's like a drop-in almost. They do have to sign up, but they
Okay.
can also, not show up and that kind of thing. So that group I've kind of been more doing similar kind of concepts, but this is the place where I really want to workshop doing that, doing the
Mm.
organization and activation. It's just finding a time slot at their facility for 3 times that week. And I was seriously looking on the weekend and I've kind of pegged it down to like in May only is when I can
Okay.
actually do it. But I'll be much more prepared then too, right?
Yes,
So it's
absolutely.
yeah. So it's a great opportunity. Yeah. So
Awesome. And
mhm.
so that would be like doing a 30-day challenge where they practice with you 3 times a week for 30 days. Is that what that would
Yes.
look like? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
Mhm.
actually consider it to be called a 30-day challenge, but that's a great marketing. I think you
Mhm.
had said that in one of our
I don't like
emails
again,
or
like I
somewhere.
personally don't get it, but it's the thing. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
call it a challenge and then people
right.
it's so interesting because you can watch people um kind of not showing up sometimes for classes, if it's a drop-in class, they sort of be wishy-washy about whether, their commitment to the practice, but then you get them in a 30-day challenge and they're all stoked about it. So I don't know. There's something about the language or something or
Right.
other There's something there.
Yeah, it's true. I
Yeah.
feel the same way. I feel the same way. So
Competition.
yeah, people are
Is
so
it a sense of
competitive.
competition or like with yourself, right?
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
even with people around, like, oh, she's not here.
Oh, yeah. I guess I've never experienced that, but yeah,
being
that would
held
be-
accountable too, right? To their
Mhm.
to their
I
commitment.
think so. Like this whole thing
Mhm.
about like making an investment in themselves. I think like we could optimize, and say that, well, you really should do it for 3 months, and then you're gonna see like drastic changes if you've been practicing in this way 3 days per month, like 3 days a week.
Right.
Do it for 3 months. You're going to have measurable, very, very big changes. But it's hard for people to commit to 3 months. Like I just find the 30-day thing is just it's a size they can commit to. And you can run multiple of those throughout the year,
Yes.
every quarter or something like that, run another 30-day challenge, So I guess, you have to go somewhere between what, is optimal and what is marketable, So,
Mhm.
but again, I think, it's a slow burn, you have to bring people along. People eventually feel like, okay, like I don't feel like this in other practices. This is how I want to feel. They want to get results. They want to feel better. They want to know they're getting stronger. They like that focused direction in the practice. And yeah, so, it takes time to build that, but oh, good. Here's Wendy. But, we can do it.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of, proper messaging and all of that. So you've got like some,
Yes.
kind of good variety and lots of
Yeah.
young people, which is
Mhm.
great, kind of
Mhm.
keeps up the energy in the class. The older students want to keep up with the younger ones, and the younger ones don't want to, look weak.
Right. Yes,
compared
that
to
I
the
did
older
notice.
ones.
That I did notice. And they seem to, I guess the younger ones I've noticed, they tend to almost like look at one another and kind of like either they giggle or I it's just a different kind of vibe that I get from the younger ones at the college anyways.
Yeah,
They
they're
just
more
are really,
self-conscious.
yeah, I think that's
Mhm.
definitely best way to describe it for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
So those are my two different audiences. So, and then between this, this is where an offer came to me, or an invitation, I guess, to come to this workshop, or this. They have a 1 hour session that the instructors, well, they are actually, what do they call themselves? I need to look at the email really quick here. They call themselves teachers, developmental service teachers, or youth family support teachers for children that come into classrooms. So this group, I feel, I feel it's more for the instructors versus the children, but it's not saying that they couldn't pass it on to their kids in the classroom. So again, I don't have that much information. I wanted to talk to this lady personally before we had this call, but that didn't happen. But her email just says basically, your sister has stated that you could possibly meet with us regarding our well-being when working with young children. And she talked about you doing some work around balance and doing this through some yoga. So that's what she's got an impression of, that we're going to work on balance, which is great. I mean, it is one of the concepts for sure. But yeah, so I kind of like, oh, this idea, like, where do I start with the balance? I mean, obviously, I feel the organization and activation, but are they going to make the connection, or how am I going to make that connection through my languaging? And then she ends off with saying, we all have different needs, but we would welcome some general tips on balance and flexibility stretching. She added that in there. I know, oh, here we go with flexibility.
They don't know what that is anyway, so we don't need to worry about it.
Good, because it was just one of those, oh, great. She
They
wants me to-
honestly, they think that if they're not running or jumping, they're stretching.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's
great.
okay.
I'm glad
Okay,
you said it like that.
So, I like my feeling just from what you've said so far is that these people, they're looking for something that will be good for them as adults, but things that they might also want to teach the kids.
Yes.
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. Yes.
Okay. Go, Sarah.
So I love the topic of balance, and even with kids and everything, I make my 8-year-old do organization and activation every morning, like brushing his teeth, because it's good for them. It's good for him, and it keeps him balanced and focused and stuff. And I think that's a really easy topic to kind of span the ages, whether it's elderly, middle-aged, kids, that kind of stuff. And I think you could also use language like the central nervous system in balance, when your body is in balance. And again, span the age group, span the thing. And I think that you can
Sarah, hold up. Say what you mean by that.
What do you
When
mean?
you're talking about the central nervous system and balance.
So when your body feels stable with stability, right? When you organize and activate and feel that in your body and the dialing out, your brain, your brain is going to feel safe, and not even in a conscious way. And then you're going to, you put me on the spot. No?
Well, I think it's great.
Am
We
I
can all
answering
weigh in
the
on this.
question?
We can all weigh in on this because I think it's just a, great awareness to bring to the topic of balance. Because like maybe what they're talking about is, their ability to balance, on a single leg, or feel balanced, on both legs, or something like that. But but you're quite right, Sarah. Like if you want to be able to have like emotional management, right? And calm your nervous system, and just sort of deal with unpredictable stresses, whether that's physical or mental, emotional, then feeling like confidence in your ability to balance and having strategies, like physical strategies in your body to find your balance, which is organization and activation, then it reduces the anxiety. It reduces, because you can't always be like utterly in control of your level of anxiety. But if you have, things you can do that make you feel grounded, and if you're practicing little practices like maybe daily or a few times a week, where you get in touch with your ability to balance, like Sarah said, it's generally affecting your nervous system as well, so that again, you're sort of weathering the storms of life there.
Yes. I also personally do it with my 8-year-old. The balancing is because I notice when he sits a lot in school, he'll sit like half on his chair, half off of his chair from left to right. And that affects his shoulders, his neck, and all like up and down the chain. But when we're consistent with the organization and activation and the balance in the morning, that goes away. So the sitting affects him in school in a negative way. So we try and counteract that way.
Okay, so like balance among parts of the body that are being stressed.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Adding
so how much time do you have?
Apparently I have 1 hour.
Okay.
I have 1 hour.
Okay. So I think what you would want to do,
and I feel that I'm going to have them bring their yoga mats. I mean, it doesn't really say, but that's going to be, I need them to have like experientials within the 1 hour for sure. That I think that's the best. I feel that was my gut instinct, just to do experientials.
Yeah.
But whether to put in a little flow at the end, I don't know. But anyways, what were you going to say?
I would do something that shows them the difference between feeling off balance and feeling balanced.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where you can talk about, well, this is probably what I would do. I would go into just a few little things where, you could, depending on how many people are in the room and all of that, you'd have to ask permission to touch and things like that. But, you could have them practice the off and on with organization and activation just in Tadasana. And like when they're activated in Tadasana, you could kind of nudge them like you're going to knock them over. And, you know, like compare that to just let's just stand up straight and tall. And, you know, how easy are you to knock over? And then organize and activate. And now let's see, you know, if I can knock you over. So you could do something like that.
They could do that themselves in partners.
Yeah.
They probably all know each other. Like, okay, and before you even introduce anything, you can just do that as like an experiment, and then teach them organization and activation, and get them kind of like a little fun, like a comparison.
That's true. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Like
totally.
an icebreaker.
Get them green.
Yeah.
Yeah. As an icebreaker. Sure. Yeah. Get them nice and green so they don't know what to do with themselves, and then give them a method to use, and then they'll see the difference. That would be fun. That would be a fun icebreaker thing. And then, you know, you might, you know, once you feel like you've broken the ice, then I would spend a few minutes talking to them about like these different ways that we understand balance, right? There's balance, like we said, like feeling balanced on your pins sort of thing, you know, like balanced in your body, balanced, you know, among, you know, from one side of your body to the other, balanced emotionally, mentally, you know, spiritually. And that it's just a different place on the continuum of the physical into the mental, emotional, spiritual. You know, it's just a different point along the continuum, but the quality of balance is very similar among, you know, all of everything among the continuum. That makes sense. So, you know, feeling more balanced in your body, you could even have them run some experiments. And I'm kind of taking things out of order a little bit here, but I just want to say this. Like you could get them in a lunge pose and getting them organized and activated, and just even having a couple of experiences like a lunge pose, like maybe a simple, what would be another pose, like a warrior pose, like where you have 2 feet on the ground, but, you know, you're safe to close down your eyes and just go into how it feels when you have, you know, a balanced, active body. So you, again,
chair pose maybe?
Yeah, a chair pose.
Yeah.
And just feeling like, okay, the first part of balance, right, is your foundation, and just really feeling like you have a method for finding balance and stability. And then, you know, we can challenge it by taking a leg away. You know, that could happen a little bit later. But I think before any of that, like, and I told you I did this out of order a little bit just in my thinking because I didn't want to miss getting it out. You're going to have like a little, you know, just the importance of balance and understanding what balance is, you know, so just having
for them first. Defining
what it is on multiple levels.
Exactly. So that we're all on the same page.
Well, so they can just raise their awareness about it. You know, they may never have thought about it before, you know, that there's just so many ways to think about balance and how key it is to, again, to your sense of I am, and to your confidence in, you know, your center and staying grounded and sort of not being tossed about by the storms of life, I guess.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
You know, when they're dealing with children, you know, children can be, you know, emotional and, you know, when they're interacting with adults, they can feel not understood. And like, I think even for kids to just be able to ground within themselves, you know, having ways of doing that. And I can see these guys passing on, like, you know, try to knock your partner over, you know, like having some fun with it, you know, and then just like, okay, let's just get grounded in our body, you know, and then using that as like a way to start their interaction with that group of children, or, you know, a pause, like if the energy has been super high, to sort of get it grounded, like, okay, everybody, we're all going to go into warrior pose and we're going to ground into our feet and breathe. And, you know, like those things I can see being useful tools for classroom management, if we want to call it that, or whatever.
I feel that is what they do a lot of. They do.
I would imagine.
Children. There's some Some of them are developmentally challenged. Some have a lot of trauma that has happened, at home. So in the classroom, and they will bring it, right? So yeah, these teachers have to kind of like manage that and understand where the child is coming from, and just trying to, navigate a classroom setting.
Yeah.
with other students. But yeah, I like the idea for sure of chair pose as well. And Sarah had said with the blocks, definitely I can, I could see that one living in somewhere within this workshop for sure. I have blocks that I'm luckily able to bring. So that sounds perfect. Really does. Because again, showing them that they can actually move dynamically as they organize and activate. I think that's a big aha.
Oh, you mean like going up and down in
Yes,
chair?
going up and down in chair. Yeah, exactly.
Or even chair breathing. I use that in my classes a lot as a pranayama technique. You're pumping up and down. You're going like into chair, like, and pushing and breathing out through the nose, standing and inhaling. And I do that every class.
I think I've seen, yes, Sarah. I think I've seen you.
Yeah, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So dynamic breathing too. Okay.
What are you thinking, Wendy?
Hi.
Hi.
What am I thinking in regards to adding to this or in general?
Yeah, just thinking like just fun things that would be experiential exercises for this group of adults who will probably pass some of it on to, the kids, whatever.
Well, I like what was said about closing your eyes. I often, when we do toe work, I get them to, go up on their tippy toes.
Oh yeah, toe
And
standing.
then close their eyes.
Toe standing is great.
Yeah, toe standing, and I love doing a lot of things with eyes closed.
Yes.
Transitioning with eyes closed, even like stepping back with the eyes closed, or even if you're in a warrior pose and you do like a twist, and just because you don't have that focus, that twist gets really wobbly, and just to really feel into the body so much more, rather than when you're looking, you can do things so much quicker.
Yeah, let's talk about eyes.
Yeah.
Eye exercises or eye movements.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think closed eyes is great too. Like again, like any of these poses, when they have 2 feet on the ground, I think that's awesome. 2 feet on the ground, closing down your eyes. Like you do have to pay more attention, right? Like as soon as you close down your eyes, you're going to feel your body more. You have to pay more attention. You have to make sure you're active. So closed eyes is great. And then challenging eye movements. So like, I don't know if this is exactly what you mean, Wendy, but just being in warrior and, maybe eyes front and then turn eyes back.
Yes.
Your body feels very different as you're moving your head around, So I think that would be really interesting. Standing twists, where you're using your eyes. Also, I kind of forgot to put up here, but table pose with eyes closed and, lifting an arm and leg, that kind of thing. If you do want to bring them down to the ground, that like, it's strange that that's a challenging balance, but it is, especially with your eyes closed.
Yeah. Totally forgot about that one. Yeah, that one's a nice, I do that one all the time with classes, and I totally didn't think about that one, but yeah. Bird dog, I guess we can call that one.
I just wanted to add too, since it's like teachers and kids and stuff, you might want to touch on why it's beneficial to work barefoot. Like just make them aware, hey, we're in yoga class and barefoot's really awesome because blah, 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 right?
Yes, that thought, Sarah, did cross my mind when Denise was talking about toe standing, because I think a lot of the children in the class wear shoes all the time.
Well, they have to for safety, but But if they're having a dysregulated child that they're working with, they might find benefit in, because kids' shoes are terrible, terrible. Some of them should just be illegal, right? So I think, but talking about that barefoot feeling and the tactile sense and that kind of stuff might, and also for the adults, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Having that conversation about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Okay,
sometimes.
so you only got an hour.
Yeah.
So I think your icebreaker is about
Tadasana, like getting without them knowing, just
without them knowing.
Yep. Partnering up and seeing if they can tap one another over.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things you could bring into it. I guess it's up to you, like how how
I know they know one another well, so
okay.
it will be a fun experience. I am sure of that, the icebreaker. Because
you could also give options with that icebreaker. I've done it with kids and I've called it like a flamingo fight. So you stand on one leg.
I love that.
Right?
I think that's very very nice.
The adults can choose, right? So you're adults, you can choose 2 feet or you can choose 1 foot and see what kind of flamingo you choose to be. And then that's an easy kind of thing for them to also take into the classroom with the kids and do that.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
Love it.
Is. Thank you, Sarah.
Flamingo.
That's awesome. I love it. Because they will grab onto that. I'm sure the teachers will grab onto it and they'll remember it. They'll continuously talk about that. I'm sure.
Okay, cool. So I think, how long would that icebreaker take? 5-6 minutes.
Yeah, I was going to say max 10. By the time you get all the giggles out, right?
The time is going to go by in a flash. So let's build in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But you can't have any more than that.
No, it's true.
And that's your intro too. And
yeah.
My name is Sue, and
I got it.
Style, and here's Activated Asana and science and yoga. It's good.
Yeah, you can kind of talk about Activated Asana throughout. So I wouldn't say even take
too much,
designated time to talk about that, but just use the cues and build it in. So you'll just say who you are. We're gonna have a little fun here, and then maybe you're catching on that the topic today is balance, or I guess they're the ones who set that up. So, but we're gonna actually touch on balance, in these multiple levels, and just what is the value of balance. It's sort of, there's a value in developing balance, and then there's value in having balance. Yeah, because, developing a balance is basically an activity. So, and we need that. And then having better balance means that all your activities are better balanced, right? And that, and that is not only good, like on a mental, emotional level, on a physical level, but, it affects your confidence. I guess somewhere I should say, so, I mean, I think without going into it in a great deal of detail, you probably could talk about the circle of safety a little bit here.
Yes. And with you saying presentation, I wasn't really thinking of doing maybe more than just a handout.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not suggesting. Okay. I don't think for
because I've only got a week.
and this is not a lot of time. So, like I say, it's going to fly by, and I think the more like you can have them feeling things in their own body, I think the more they're going to remember. But maybe you want to do the circle of safety just as a handout, or just the concept. I mean, it's just the concept really here, where, when we're talking about what is the value of developing and having balance, and then you could talk about the circle of safety, because, it's just not something that weight now. That, people think about, but I think it is very easy to understand that concept. And I'm sure that they probably already recognize some of that in their own body and their own experience. So, just showing like, hey, if you're not doing something intentional to maintain it, it is going to shrink over time. So, you just keep it pretty straightforward and simple. But again, I think it's got some impact. So if you want to, something memorable. And, for them, I was just wondering too about for them, like, again, specifically for their sake, being able to get up and down off the ground when you're working with kids is pretty key.
Yeah.
So, and feeling like confident and in control as you do that, that has a major balance aspect as well. So maybe doing, you could weave it in where some of their experiential exercises are on the ground, and then they have to get up, and then they have to get back down on the ground. And, then, you can kind of chuckle and say that they're, you're doing this intentionally because that's one of the things they have to maintain. Like, you may make sure that that's in the very center of your circle of safety, is getting up and down off the ground with ease. That's one of, if you're working with children, that is key. And really, it's for your own comfort and everything too, because you don't want to be stooped over the children all the time. You want to be able to get down on their level.
No,
and then
that's
with
perfect.
that, you can have a little fun with them and say, oh, now try it without using your hands, or try it without hanging on to your buddy next to you. Try it without groaning.
Yeah. And Barbara here in the chat, she said, the circle of safety, that really landed well in my Framework 1 workshop. She's done the workshops a few times, several times. Also with yoga teachers who have attended, they just haven't thought of it that way before. And I agree, like, it was definitely an epiphany.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that can be your talky part.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk. And then, and then I think, they'll be willing to go along with you and do some of your experiential exercises. And these'll be fun. They'll have a good time with these. They're not, super challenging poses, but they all have an element of balance and body awareness. And and then some of the eye movement things, like you could do like the very simplest of single leg standing balance, like even having, say, them stand on one leg and even do like intense healing pose. So simple.
Yeah.
And then have them do that with eye movement.
Yes.
It's going to challenge them. And so, and with eye movement, you can just talk about how your eyes can either, help you, or you can use your eyes to help you balance, or you can withdraw your sight to challenge your balance, so there's different ways of working with the eyes.
Thank you. Yeah.
So what are some of the key takeaways you would like them to have? Anybody want to jump in here? What are key takeaways?
I think if I remember my sister talking about some of the children in the class, some of them actually are wearing braces and whatnot, because they have some developmental problems like I talked about.
Are they of a sort of similar age, all the children?
I believe so. That is a great question. I need to ask.
So like elementary school, I guess?
Yes. Yeah. So where was I going with this? Oh, right. So when I was talking with my sister about this organization and activation, just the fact of the dialing the feet and the knees away from one another would possibly help that child who is using braces, a little bit better, right? And finding her balance to be much more attainable.
Yeah. Oh, like what if you could give, that child more confidence in their body and not see themselves as broken or anything like that,
Right. Exactly.
That was.
I think that's one of the key takeaways that I would like to kind of hone in on. That that's going to be possibly their outcome if they keep working on this idea of dialing the feet and knees. So, that's it. That's the most exciting part for me to kind of say, that's all that I want you to take away from this, 1 hour gathering, and if they could each apply it to their own students in the classroom, if they are noticing that they're having troubles with walking or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. And I would like to have something addressed about them sitting a lot, right? So when they, if they could just get the children up and just practice Tadasana, right? Let's throw that in the classroom a little bit more often.
Movement breaks.
Yes, thank you. That's a great way to sum it up, would be movement breaks.
And just say everything we've been, you might want to do a little handout, like with just stickmen of some of the experiential exercises that you used. And then, just say, try these. And like, I'm sure they could probably look on YouTube for, exercises you can do with kids in the classroom, just to movement exercises or whatever.
Right.
But I'm sure there's lots there.
I was just going to add to when talking to the kids who have less mobility or mobility issues, it can make them stronger. And the kids who don't, kids so relate to sports. I know I work in schools and I see that competitiveness in sports world, even with the little ones. So saying this will make you a stronger skater, or have more fun when you're skiing, or playing soccer, is attaching it to things that the kids do.
Okay. Right. Yeah. That's cool. Because a lot of them, I'm sure, do play sports, right? And they need to be able to take, if their teacher kind of lets them know this is going to help them with your soccer, with your skiing, with your hockey, whatever, right? That they can grasp onto that and just take this idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I find kids are so into that. Like if I tell my 8-year-old grandson, or even when he was 5, that something's, that's going to make you a better baseball player or whatever, then he's all over it, So this has been going on for years. Like, I'll just give him a little thing to do, a little challenge to do, like burpees. I was saying, did you do your burpees today? Did you practice your handstand? They do like those challenges. So, that's great.
Any idea, ladies, on the words, like, instead of calling it Tadasana, because that's our language, what would a kid relate to as far as telling them to be a strong mountain? I don't know. Like
Statue.
I find kids relate to animal names and fun things that I used to do. I did yoga with a preschool class quite a bit a couple of years ago, and we'd do star and then tip over one leg, call it like starfish, and tip over shooting star, and rocket was down in chair position, and the kind of you fire upwards, like things like that are fun related. Maybe the images that they read about in books and stories, animals and playthings and rocket ships, dinosaurs.
Right. I like rocket ships too. Yeah,
like a
it could be kind of like rocket pose, like could be Tadasana even.
Yes.
Especially for the hands up, pointing.
Hands up.
Yeah. Our extended mountain. Right. But I see that in the chat there, Barb. Thank you. Yes, that's perfect. It's a good one.
Or if you're doing a standing single leg balance and you want to like put it into kind of a tree or a sapling, they can be any kind of tree they can imagine. They can put their arms however they want and their legs however they want.
Sure.
While they're balancing on one.
I love that. I'm going to do that in my class.
I do that all the time. Say, be a gnarly tree, be a conifer.
Be a tree in the wind.
So if you can invite them to use their imagination, they love that.
Look at the sunset behind me, ladies. So
I can see it. In the water, color of the water. Wow.
Incredible. Just noticed it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So those are the two big takeaways that I think, I can't even remember the first one.
I wrote down confidence in yourself, bigger circle of safety. This is for the adults. Enjoy movement more. Try new things. Get better at your sports. This is for the kids.
Right.
Sports and other hobbies. And what are the things you were thinking of included in what I've got here, or did I miss something?
I'm not sure. That doesn't resonate quite right. I could always listen to the recording and see what it was that I wanted.
Yeah.
I believe it was their ability to organize and activate, like really just
Well, we keep going back and forth between the adults that are taking the
yes, we
class
do.
and what they might be passing on to their students.
Right, we do.
Right.
For sure. Yeah.
So,
And I think that's what they are looking for. If I understand, or am reading between the lines in the email. I haven't had the conversation yet with the lady, but that's usually what their workshops are all about, is kind of like they're learning stuff and so that they can transfer something to their children.
Yeah. I mean, when it's not specifically said, then, you know, we could organize this around entirely what they would teach the kids. But since it was, you know, kind of like, well, it's kind of for us, but also for them, you know.
Yeah. Right.
Then, but there's a ton of value here.
Yeah.
There's a ton of like great ways to think about things. I'll give you this document. I'll send you this.
Okay. Thank you.
And yeah, and you can alter it or whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
and
It's just having a direction where to go.
Yeah.
With it.
It's good to have a little brainstorm with all these fantastic brains here. So that is helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, gorillas. Gorilla pose. What's gorilla pose?
Gorilla pose.
Yeah, they can always do like lion pose.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Gorilla pose is a forward fold, and it's tuck your hands palm up under the front of your feet. The knees bent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. I see.
Yes.
Padhastasana.
I would do that different. Gorilla to me is a deep squat with your hands on the ground, and then you plant your hands and you move.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
We all have different versions.
We're building a workshop for kids yoga. It seems like it's a lot more fun.
That's funny. No, this is great. This is definitely a conversation that's well taken in and appreciated for sure.
Yeah, very welcome. I would really like to do a lot more of this. So keep that in mind, Wendy. I know you're always offering workshops and registered classes and stuff. So yeah, if there's you have something upcoming that you want to workshop a little bit, please let us know, because it's great to have something, you know, there's one thing to talk about it kind of in theory, but it's another to actually, you know, workshop it together. I think this is great. Everybody's got such good ideas.
Well, and I do like how we're going back and forth from like adults to kids, because even though we're using a little bit different language and maybe the kid language is so fun and whatever, it's the same message for the adults, right? It's just, you just can call it something different, and the kids don't need to know about the circle of safety and all that stuff. So you can say like, as adults, we will know this, and the kids will just think it's a fun animal flamingo pose or whatever, right? So
I mean, they don't even need an excuse to get up and move. Kids, right?
No, they don't.
Adults seem to, you know, you've got to like, okay, what's the return on investment here? Whereas a kid is just, you know, oh, we're going to get up and move. All right, let's go.
Right. And I could almost imagine if the classroom was almost chaos like, and if the teacher was to say, okay, everybody, it's time for gorilla pose. Wouldn't they all just want to do it, right? Like they would all
absolutely
kind of like, yeah, I'm going to now just stop doing whatever I'm doing and just pay attention to teacher now and and do.
Well, they're going to get back in their body.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. For sure.
So, love it. Love this idea.
Thank you.
It's great.
Cool. Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated. For sure.
All right. Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. Well, what's up with the rest of y'all? Barbara, when are you back on terra firma?
As in Alberta terra firma, or
yeah. Were you going somewhere else next?
No, I fly on Sunday back home, go back to work on Monday. So yeah.
Very nice.
I was going to say something. Oh, I just have something fun to report. I got going off to Cuba in November to do a retreat there. In Havana and Trinidad, and then up in the mountains to a waterfall. So they want a yoga teacher to kind of lead the way, and all expenses paid and being paid. It's insanely fabulous.
Fantastic.
And that's what's happening. The contact I made on the beach. So
yeah, well, you mentioned this woman was telling you about it. Fantastic.
It's just so cool how once we put ourselves out there, things just one thing leads to the next, and things start to roll. So that's this living proof. And I was ready to go. Like I had the answers. I had the information. Like I was really ready to have that conversation. So it's real.
Do you guys know what she's talking about? Like she, well, you are already in a space where you're just like, I need to be teaching somewhere new. I need to find new students. And you were kind of in that space already. But also just like, remember we had this conversation in the fall, like just get ready. Right? Just equip yourself. Just do the lessons. Just get ready so you have those answers ready when the opportunity comes.
Yeah. And so that exactly happened. The opportunity came. I had a FaceTime call yesterday, and I was ready to just know what I can offer, what makes what I offer different, what other people might offer, and just be able to reach different demographics with what I offer. And poof, done. It's just. And this is my retirement plan is to do more of this. I mean, check out the sunset. I mean, you wouldn't want to be teaching it. Yoga.
I know.
Places, so it's just so great. And I just to mention the class, I taught yoga on the beach almost every morning to the cruising community, which were predominantly older, 60s or 50s and up. And it's, like I said earlier, so landed with them. And I used their language. I said, talk about your anchor, your boat pose course. Every boat in the harbor is different. Be your boat. Like it just really, and I did some partner yoga, and they love that. I mentioned the chat. Partner yoga is really fun with kids. These adults are just getting so awkward and having so much fun trying to hold these partner poses. So it's just really fun to try new things and dip into the box of learnings that you provided, Denise. And I wish later things like, darn it, I should have done this. I could have done that, right? The things, but we get better and better at having that repertoire at our fingertips and being able to spontaneously swerve and bring something else in. That's what I'm really noticing. It's really, really gratifying, really gratifying.
Nice. Wonderful to hear, Barb. Yeah, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Proud of how you're doing it.
So, so lots to learn, lots to, a long way to go, but it's coming. And I am doing more workshops. I did, ladies, Denise has suggested to me in the fall, they just take a bit of a break from workshops because I found a new space that was really inexpensive, but it was a non-yoga teaching space. And I just was having so little luck getting people. And because it was like a retreat center, lovely, but like a Christian Catholic retreat center, and which is fine and beautiful. But
was it Providence Center?
No,
okay.
Star of the North in St. Albert. Lovely space, and they were so kind and really reasonable, but I wasn't drawing people, so I decided to offer the first framework in February, the second one in April, the third one in June at Wellness Within, that the Joy Center. You don't know Denise. They take 50%, which is a whole lot, but 50% of something is a lot better than 100% of nothing. So, and they've got a big reach, and they're advertising already. So
see, now that's worth it. If they have a big reach and they know how to advertise, okay, well then, people are going to see it, and they'll, if they have a good experience with you, you might offer it somewhere else. I mean, it doesn't mean you're locked into always offering it there. You could offer it somewhere else, and people will see. This is the difference with having access to social media. Also, when you're teaching these people, you can, I don't know how open Wellness Within would be to it, but you don't even have to get emails from them. You can they'll see you on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you're posting or what have you, and then they can follow you and see what else you're offering. So
and Sue, this workshop that you're doing, I hope I have access to that document too, because it's really great. And you could offer that to schools, you could offer it to kids clubs and hockey teams and figure skating groups of kids, because it's so flexible, and I hate that word, so adaptable.
Yeah.
Oops.
That's what you
Right?
really
And
mean.
like,
Yeah.
like what a great template to really get yourself into some neat new corners that might not know about yoga. Boy, can you be helpful and giving them a gift.
Yeah. I mean,
No,
Sarah,
thank
you've
you.
done this already a few times, right? So like just sketch out, your experiences.
I offer, well, and depends, like similarly to what we do, right? I just did I gave them my gift for the beginning of the year was to give them a yoga lesson. And I did a similar thing, right? Kind of, it was more for the teachers, but I also said, like, you could do this in your classrooms, just like how we brainstormed, right?
She means like the teachers at the school your son goes to.
Yeah, the elementary school teachers, right? Like, I actually did get them to do the let's get up off the floor. And they were like, oh, we do this all the time. I'm like, I know, but lots of people can't. And
Are you good at it though?
yeah, exactly, right? Can you do it without grunting? And like, oh, I gotta get up. Like, and the benefits of standing versus sitting and walking around and shoes. And so I've done that before. In a bunch of different ways. And like we just did with you, like you're adapting to your audience and speaking their language, just like Barb is with the boats.
Yeah, love that.
That's what Wendy does as well with her participants in her workshops. Like it's the same message, and you just make sure that, well, we're adapting exactly what you said to how the people receiving it. And yeah,
I mean, that's basically our duty in communication, right? Is just to speak a language that your audience is going to appreciate and understand. You don't want to talk over their heads and be very technical, and you don't want to talk to them like they don't know anything, right? You want to meet them where they're at. And yeah, I love like adapting the language, like seafaring language.
I'm kicking myself. I didn't think till after these class I should have been saying for dialing, like activating, drop your anchor. Did they ever have related to that, right?
Yeah. Well, there's always next time.
Well, I had so much interest, and I took all the emails. I forgot my business cards. I made little handmade ones last night and had them out, and I'm going to figure out a way to deliver boat yoga to them. Probably won't do it over Zoom because of the time change. It's dark here. They need Wi-Fi, but I think I'll just do a sequence of like 30-minute classes and post them on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So they can have access to them. And like all low stuff, standing poses on a boat are really challenging, but low to the ground stuff. And then just, again, building my reach, because I just don't want to I feel like too many opportunities slip by where I don't get email addresses, don't get contact information. That's a good one for all of us. Just
it is
remember
such a
when
discipline.
we do something. Yeah, remember. And our excitement, it's easy to forget, and then an hour later, you go, "Damn it, I should have ... But it is discipline.
I mean,
do that.
It's our nature because we're so in the moment. That's the kind of people we are. You'll have to set yourself up for that, like beforehand, even. Have a sign-up sheet or something like that, or some way for them to, easily give you that information that doesn't interrupt the flow of the experience at all,
Exactly. And then do a newsletter. I started doing a newsletter. I'm still in learning more about that, but every email address I can add to my newsletter is really great, right? For future offerings, whether it's online offerings, or in this case, probably, or having people show up at things live.
Maybe at the start, to come up and grab your handout and just jot down your email address, so that we can keep in contact, and you can have them like side by side, or email me if you want this sheet.
Right. Yeah, like when I was doing, quite a few of the workshops I would always make a handout, but I wouldn't want them like going through the handout during the experience. I would want them in the experience, and then I would get their email and I would send them the handouts, and sometimes I'd send them little videos and all kinds of stuff, so they were getting something valuable in exchange for their email address. And I wasn't blowing up their inbox or anything, just, giving them something valuable. And, I don't know, people seem to really appreciate it. So
I like that better at the end for that exact reason. Yeah, so that they're not going to their thing or be like, yeah, I know this already. I already read it. Like, yeah, I like that way better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, kind of got to judge your crowd. So what's up with you, Wendy? I'm feel certain that you probably have your first part of your year sketched out in some way, shape, or
I
form.
kind of do, but I didn't do anything over the vacation. So on Monday, I offered a free class for the very first time. It was my New Year's gift to all my people, and I said, like I think I sent it up to 70 people, and I said basically, you know, just for people that said please share with friends, family. I posted it on Instagram, and yeah, for people to experience my class, to see my style, and also for my seasoned practitioners, just as a gift. Happy New Year. And it was intention setting class, so there was intention for it, because I didn't have a plan. I don't know what I'm going to be offering them. So I thought, okay, I don't know. I'm going to just offer a free class, but it felt good. It felt totally aligned. I wanted to do
I love it.
Free class. So now I've got the next 6 weeks that I'm putting together right now and marketing. I'm a little bit like this kind of last minute. I work well under pressure. But as you're talking about your workshops and stuff, I'm thinking, I wonder if I made my next 6 weeks just all around, I don't know, or 1 week is balance, 1 week is strength. So we're just kind of building on it. But no, that's not really good either, because we're like, I love the organizing and activating. Love. And that's the first thing I talk about in my classes. And I don't know. So I don't really have a theme yet. Like I've always had for my 6
I will send you a theme.
Okay.
I have it already. I'll show you. Well,
for 6 weeks or whatever.
It's like whatever you want to make it. It could be 8 weeks.
Okay.
It's in the curriculum, themes for class series. So there's a little bit preamble about why themes work. So, you know, skillful movement as a theme, high performance aging as a theme, injury-free yoga as a theme. Obviously, you'll recognize these as being lessons in the first module. Law of adaptation, order of progression, and then, you know, just how you make a plan. I'll just give you this document. And the first theme was stability, an 8 class or more series, but you can turn it into 6 super easy. And concept 1 is stability first. And concept 2 is the importance of feeling stable. Concept 3 is how long will it take to become better at stabilizing. And believe me, like there's interesting pieces of information in each of these, I promise. Different kinds of stability. So basically there was like 2 classes on each of these concepts, but you can decide how to parse out the different concepts, and you might want to spend several classes on one of them and only 1 class on others. So I wanted to just make it as an example of how you can talk about something like stability, or like we did today about balance, in multiple different ways, because we're teaching a yoga class, and we all know that, there's this quality exists on the physical plane, but also in the mental, emotional, spiritual plane. So, we can include all of that. And again, then I do another example theme on strength. So again, I just took the simplest, most straightforward of themes, and I built, a bunch of concepts around it. So that's what I do. I also sometimes find something like right now I'm using this book, The Path of the Yoga Sutras. And so there's like, each little chapter has, a concept from the Yoga Sutras, and, there's a reading on it. And then, I just weave it into, I don't know. For me, it's always easy to weave esoteric concepts into the physical experience. I have no problem doing that.
I started my new series a few months. I'm going to. I used Chat GPT to help me because I like playing around with that a little bit, and I just use it for ideas. So I wanted to do something with flow. So with my flow, I didn't use Chat GPT for I'll tell you which part I used it for, but I'm gonna do like superficial front line to superficial back line and do the poses like flowing from there to there. They don't know that, and I might put that in there every once in a while to like tell them. But then in my E-class series, I'm going to flow from like superficial front line, superficial back line, and then the deep lines, the side to side, the lateral to spiral. So in the 8-class series, I'll kind of play with that flow. And then in February, this is where I use Chat GPT because I'm like, where does flow go? And I just wanted to I was like, word associate flow. In class or I didn't even say yoga class. I was like, just word associate like flow. And then it said current. And I'm like, ooh, that's good. So I'm like current. And then I was like, again. And then I just said again. And so it said, and I don't know if I'm going to totally go with this, but this is where it kind of led me to because I'm planning up until June. So I said current, electric, charge, batteries, and then power in June. And I was like, whoa, I could totally build that.
Current and charge really resonates with me. I love using those words in class too, because again, we're talking about like things that are actually going on in our body, like piezoelectricity and mechanotransduction.
Yeah, muscles and fascia and tension. I could totally weave that into esoteric whatever.
Yeah.
And so in this flow, last night I talked about water and how water changes, and how we're made of water, and how we're so powerful.
Ordered water.
Drips of water can erode away stone. So I'm just like going into that.
Oh,
so,
I love it.
Love that.
Yeah. FYI, use it if you want.
And so when you say you're doing an 8-week series, are you saying you do 2 classes a week? Or does it literally go over 2 months?
No, yeah. So I teach Monday, Wednesdays. So I sell my packages in months. So you can sign up for January once or twice a week, and then you can sign up for February once or twice a week, and I go until June, and I don't teach in the summer.
Okay, same with me. So when you do your monthly classes, someone can say, I just want to come 4 times or I want to come 8 times.
Yeah, that's just how I work in my community, because some people can't make it twice a week. They have other things going on, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And if they can only come 3 times, they still pay for 4 times.
Yep. I don't.
Or can they come to the other class, that like the Tuesday class, if they're a Thursday class person, just to make up?
Yeah, I don't care.
I'm the same.
I don't care.
Okay.
But then if you don't show up for one, there's no refund for that 4th class. You just paid for extra or whatever.
Or if they're away for a week, they can come the week before for 2 weeks, like 2 times.
No,
they can do makeup classes, right?
No, not usually, not unless they're sick. One lady got sick last. I had 2 ladies actually that were like in the hospital sick. Like I just gave them a credit for the next time, because that's not your fault. But
right. Well,
I also do like a bonus class every now and then. And if you say you bought 16 classes or whatever, and you missed one and you couldn't make it up just another day, like kind of like Sarah, like, you meant to come once a week, but you missed this 1 week. So you came twice another week. That, I'm okay with that. But also, just because I know it doesn't always work out for people, I'll do like a free class and have people invite friends to that.
So literally free?
Yep.
So you do just an offer free class?
Just a bonus class for anybody, it's an opportunity for anybody who, missed a couple classes and couldn't make it up. But the intention is for them to bring a friend too, if possible, or they're strongly encouraged to do that. So yeah. So then it's, it's potentially growing your number as well. I love doing a free class every now and then. It's just, it's awesome.
I've never
You know,
done that. This was
just
the
to get
first
some new
time.
bases. Like, yeah, yeah. It's I know Angela's done that in like outdoor classes in Scotland, and just had great success with it. People just sign up for her registered classes after they've taken one of her free classes. So yeah, just another way of kind of showing people what you can do. Because like people are skeptical now. They don't want to spend money if they don't know what they're getting. So.
So are you allowing drop-ins then to these classes, or do they have to pay for the 8 or the 4? And then if some new person wants to try, can they just drop in?
On my website, my policy is you can drop in after my registration closes after the second class, because I really want to encourage the registration. Like, it's 4 classes. Like, come on, it's cheaper than if you just pay for drop-in. So I try and encourage that. But I'm not hard and fast. Like, even on my first class yesterday, someone was like, "Oh, can I drop in? Can I bring my friend?" It's like, well, I guess. And then they never showed up anyway. So I'm like, whatever. I'll leave it open, because I'm still trying very much to like get my population here in this new space. So I'm not gonna say no, but I would really, how did I word it? I was like, I really prefer if people register, but I will allow you and your friend to come this one time or whatever.
Yeah, you want them to commit.
Yeah. I mean, it's better for them if they do,
Absolutely.
obviously.
Come once a month isn't going to bring them the same outcome.
That's right. So I do allow it, but I allow it with a caveat. You have to listen to my spiel first.
Okay, yeah, I'm all about that. But I find that a lot of people can't commit. And so I'd rather them at least come a few times than not at all.
Yeah.
Because I do want to have a closed class. The next 8 weeks, you sign up and that's the block. And then I'm guaranteed also that there's going to be 10 people instead of, it's a 10 card that you can use over 3 months. I don't like that. Like, no.
And so I also give a discount. So it's $20 if you drop in. It's 10% cheaper if you sign up for 1 time a week, and it's 20% off of the drop in if you sign up for all 8 classes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for your input. Yeah.
But anyway, ladies, I have to go. My boys are starving, and it's donaires for supper, so I have to fly.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Yesterday, well, I did it for the second time. I did a presentation on hot yoga.
Hot yoga.
It's an hour long with a slideshow.
Where did you do the presentation?
No, I videoed it. I'm putting it up. It'll put it on YouTube on Thursday. So
on hot yoga.
Mm-hmm.
You do hot yoga?
No.
No, I was going to say, this is just like, give us a little teaser about what you said about it. I'm really curious.
About what I said about it. And the reason why I did it was because somebody who I thought had heard me talk about it multiple times, she sounded so like frustrated and everything. She's like, well, people just don't understand, like, so I got to change Google accounts here. The truth about hot yoga.
Okay, so you were sharing the truth. I get it.
Yeah. And it's
I thought you were pro and you're saying how great it is.
No, there's himself. Yeah. And then I included like, I don't know, 5 different articles on what hot yoga is really doing, like to the circulatory system, the nervous system, and the muscular system, and then the tissues. And then, I wanted to really discuss perceived exertion. People in yoga just don't understand that. Also, the problem of insufficient loading, and whether or not, hot yoga burns more calories, like the claims, here's the claims that are made. hot yoga builds more muscle. Hot yoga burns more calories, which is sort of code for helps you lose fat. Hot yoga detoxifies the body. Who hasn't heard that? Hot yoga makes your muscles looser and makes you more flexible. And these I got from actual websites that offer, or studios that offer hot yoga. This is exactly what they say. So I just went through all of them and just talked about whether or not that can possibly be true. I love the one about sweating out toxins. That's really fun to talk about.
So do we have access to what you're showing us right now? I would love to print that out. And
oh, you want the slides? I could give you the slides. Yeah, we'll put the video up on in the membership site, but it'll also be on YouTube because I'm trying to build that channel up a little bit. Well, a lot. And but you'll have the slides. I won't give the slides, get anybody else access to the slides, of course. And then there's a bunch of links to like research papers and articles that I well, I mean, they're just kind of supporting my arguments basically, but I mean, these aren't this is not new information. This has just been my understanding. But anytime I'm going to do something like this, I try to make sure I'm covering my butt by just making sure like there's no no really good contrary information out there. And one thing I'll say to you guys, because there's so many things that you just can't even talk about all of them in one presentation, but there's always a possibility of adaptation, right? There's certain stressors that you can adapt to some degree, but there's always going to be a factor. And if you want to kind of maintain your tolerance for a hot practice, then you would have to keep practicing in a hot practice. If you go away from it for not very long at all, you have to build your tolerance up again. And it's not a mental tolerance thing. It's like literally your circulatory system has to switch into gear where it can tolerate that again. Because it's such a profound effect. And same thing with the nervous system, same thing with the muscular system. These are profound effects that, people see and observe and they feel, but they think they don't matter somehow. And I'm just, talking about all these things are they profoundly affect your body. So, and so many people have they think that the claims that are made are true in spite of how they might feel in their body. They think, well, this is good for me. Everybody says it's good for me, It's just if you say it often enough, people believe it, I suppose. So
this could be a very exclusive.
I know. I might get some comments.
Send to studio owners. Whoa.
But I'm also going to say kudos for doing it. Kudos for doing it, because there's so many times when
people just ask me about it all the time, and I get tired of repeating myself, to be honest.
So you
have to build the case, because it's not, when you're going to refute something that's so commonly believed, you have to talk about it. And sometimes, people just don't have the anatomical or physiology background, so I have to figure out how I can even explain this to them. So anyways, there's a few topics that I'll probably talk about that way and just do a bit more of a deep dive.
Awesome.
That's nice.
Love it.
And that's going to be on YouTube, you said?
Yeah, I'll put it on YouTube, but I'll put it in our website as well, on your membership site. It'll be in there, and I'll give you guys access to the slides too, and of course the research papers. It's not like I dug deep. I have a huge research folder, and I just kind of picked out the ones that I felt were addressed the issues that I was talking about the most specifically. But the thing is, some of these research papers, they're I don't know, 25 pages long. So and the language is difficult. So if you don't really and that's the thing. I think that's the problem with a lot of yoga teachers. They're not really comfortable really reading through research papers. They don't really know what to make of them. And so then they just believe whatever the studio says, like this is in our advertising. So this is what you tell your students, and, I mean, if it was a totally innocuous thing, then it's fine. But, when people do get injured, and that's why yoga teachers ask me about it, because they had bad results from it or bad experience with it, and I didn't even go into things like adrenal fatigue or upper respiratory illness and stuff, which they tend to come down with quite a bit when they're teaching, that kind of class regularly. So, yeah, so that would be another presentation, maybe.
Yeah, no, I'm very interested in it, because just my own gut feeling years ago, I said, how could that be healthy? Unfit people going into a hot room to get their bodies warmed up. You should be able to do that on your own with your breath. And you should be able to sweat on your own with your breath and your movement, not because you're in a
what we're
sauna.
designed to do,
No. So this is great. So thank you for doing that.
Okay. Thank you for sticking your neck out.
I went to a few Bikram classes several years ago. I was given a gift certificate and I loathed it. Every cell in my body loathed it and screamed, this is wrong. This is so wrong. I even left early a couple of times. I just could not buy in that it was all, that the claims were true. I just hated it. But long before my teacher training, before I really knew anything, my instincts were just like screaming, no, this is not me. It's not going to be good.
Well, I did give it a try myself. And again, because, people were raving about it. But it, and I was teaching yoga myself at the time, but I think just, I didn't have the keen instincts that you had, Barbara. I was just basing it on like what I knew about the body and the body physiology, and especially the thing about perceived exertion, like if you understand perceived exertion and the effect that the detrimental effect that has on performance, you would know right away, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to do something like build strength in this class because I'm too tired. Like, I'm barely surviving here,
Just try to survive.
Yeah.
It felt like you just
and a lot of, I've listened to like the guy who talks on Yoga Land. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. That's a podcast. He's also a pretty well-known teacher, and he talks about hot yoga, like just fully admits he teaches hot yoga, but he's just like, yeah, you're half the time you're just concentrating on surviving the class, because the heat is so extreme. So yeah. Oh, well, there's lots of things. I don't want to cover everything I covered in the presentation. You guys can watch it, but yeah, I tried to cover the main points that, especially like the main claims that are made. That was my goal there. So there's more, but I figured that was it already took me an hour to talk through it. So
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there's anything like you like feel like you like some kind of controversial topic like that, you feel free to let me know and I'll take it on. Well, tell me, are we good for now? I mean, it's bedtime, way past your bedtime, Wendy.
It's 12:30. Yes, I'm going to bed now.
Poor girl. Thank you so much for attending. I appreciate it.
Well, I was at a birthday party tonight and I knew I was going to still be up, and that's why I was 10 minutes late and I just walked in the door. So
yeah,
I thought I can be tired one morning. It's perfectly fine.
Okay. Super.
So thank you
so
and
much.
It was very nice to see how you brainstorm, walk through it.
Yeah, well, like I'm really open to doing that. I think we should be doing that because we all have experience that we can bring to the table, and it's fun. You're going to come up with ideas that you wouldn't come up with on your own. So I love it. It's great.
It's super fun. Yeah. And I like how simplified you made it. And that in an hour, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it is. Don't get overly ambitious. It needs space, and things happen. You want people to be relaxed. You don't want to be like, okay, come on. Right. So
no. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that was great. Fun.
Appreciate
and thank you so much for being here, Barb. yeah, appreciate you tuning in when you're on the seas. That's
I'm
great.
so glad it works. So glad I was able to. Normally I can because I work during the day, but this is great. The time's good for me too, actually.
Yeah,
But
super.
not for everybody.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and Happy New Year, everybody. And